This is just AMZN for Tuesday, June 4th, 2019. I think so, for a second there what day it was. You seen this? We had a really nice bounce. I mean, it sold off. This was kind of the last gap for the bears. Sold off. Some really small candles down here. And then it just rallied and ran right on through our line at 1714.50. Got a little bit higher, came back down just about to a low here of 1715.01, and then ran right back up to the next line right at 1728, and just bumped its head up against there until right at the close where it actually made a new high in the day. And then after hours, it's rallied and it's already back up around 1747. Kind of crazy how it's doing all that. Do you see what I'm seeing though? I'm going to turn off extended hours if I can remember how to do that really quickly during the video. Time, and no, it's not time. There you go. Show extended on equities. There we go. That should do it. All right. Let's zoom back in on the day. In the last 2 days, today and yesterday, and it's a little bit hard to see still, but let me just draw it. And what I'm seeing is this, into this, into this, and that. That is an inverted head and shoulders with a really nice retest of the neckline. I mean, I'm not drawing it great, but right there. So let me switch back to the drawing in here. And if I draw a line going across like this, let's see, grab the highs, the low there. Look at that. It does do this little retest thing. I wanted it. I looked at it and it was, I think, on this candle. And then this one started to break out. I'm like, man, I wanted one more bearish candle, pulling back a little bit, just a tiny bit more, and to come into, basically the high. Oops. I really wanted to see it come back into like the high. I really wanted to see it really down low here in the 1700s, like 1702, 1703. And it came down to 1706. And it was a little higher than I wanted, but then that turned into kind of a bit of a Morningstar reversal. I mean, sort of. It just continued, But a really nice small candle here that then went bullish and ran right into the price. I mean, we're right here into 1714.50. I got 15 cents through it and then held there. And again, I thought, okay, it's going to roll back down a little bit more. It'll give me a good entry off the 21. Nope, it just continued to ride up on the 5. And then when I finally touched the 21, it was way over here above the line, which is, again, another great place to get in right here. It's just, it exhausted most of the move. You missed the big move of the day because right here it just kind of chopped. It still went higher, but it was mostly sideways for like this part of the day, a lot of the day, like more than 4 hours of the day. So the big move was in the morning, but it definitely played out off of this inverted head and shoulders. So if we consider that the neckline, this was a short-term retest. If we have any sort of retest that comes back down to low 1700s, even if it were to do 1710, even 1710, if it were to come back down to that price, similar where it was here, it came down to 1706, 22, but if it could come down there, that'd be a longer retest of inverted head and shoulders, and it should bounce from there. Yeah, it's on its way back up. So let me turn on extended hours again. You gotta remember where it is this time. Equities. There we go. We'll show those. There's one of them in here. Let me switch the volume. I thought I switched the volume on here. I wanted to do something with the volume. Volume is so graph. No. wanted to include it. Why is it doing that? I don't want it as a subgraph. I want it as a. Wasn't I trying this the other day? Thought it was in here. I was messing with this the other day. No, something's up. Okay, I'll find it again. Anyway, we're back up at this level. That was where we had gapped down to and bounced from for pre-market Monday for the new month, and here we are right back up at that price after hours the very next day. So pretty phenomenal move. If this turns into a stronger reversal here, it's starting to look like a V bottom. I mean, with the bottom of the V being this inverted head and shoulders without extended hours. But I mean, if this just continues back up, I mean, that'd be phenomenal. First of all, if it just continues to rally and we're back into the 1800s, back towards this 21 up here by the end of the week, I mean, it makes this cross hatch here this definitely doable because we're already there. You know, if we just grind sideways into that, I mean, that's a really nice target there. We did hit this one today, so it's kind of hard to see these here, but yesterday we just went roaring through that, and then today we're right back into where these two prices, or this this horizontal line and this uptrend line, where these two cross. And so somewhat it is a retest of that. If the bears are here to stay, we'll see probably an inside candle tomorrow moving back down, and then we should have a continuation lower the next day, or maybe the next day after that. So this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday. We should, by Friday we should have a bigger move down into like mid 1600s again, get past this low if the bears are here to stay. If they're not, if this is a rally, if this is the time to be buying, then we should get back above this uptrend tomorrow. And we're gapping up above, but I mean, we should get back above it and stay up above it. Let me say again, we should get up above it. We can pull back into it and pull back below, like I was saying about the price, a move down to like low 1700s, but we need to get back above it by the end of the week. I'll give it back to here, you know, to get to this. This is the 7th. So if we can get to this, if we can stay up here into the end of the week, I mean, you could have this looking like a really large pennant or a flag. Sorry, a flag, not a pennant. Pennant's where it's kind of going a little bit narrower, like a triangle, but the flag is where they're kind of all making higher highs and higher lows into that price. That isn't necessarily the strongest bullish move. I'd much rather see it rally out of this strongly and do something similar to something like this, where we had a big sell and then we just got going and then kind of went just, you know, smaller candles back on our way up and really rallied from one of these. Looking at the daily a little bit more, I don't know why this didn't zoom in back out. Now it's kind of stuck. There we go. Okay. Last time we were below one of these lines, you know, we're going below this one here and kind of hovered here. This is what I'm talking about. Like, this is the pennant. I'm sorry, this is the flag where it's making higher highs, higher lows, and then it does gap down again. So higher highs and higher lows, if it does that the rest of the week and we're back up here, that should be okay. If we do this for a day, 2 or 2 days, and then we gap down again, it would look like the bears are here a little bit longer. The last time we were moving below one of these lines was, well, we didn't really know it existed through these and this, so probably in here, and it's really choppy through here, but let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit more. You had the sell, well, you had this one that got back up. That moved really nicely back up, and we're actually at a close very similar, you know, to this one here. we had that massive bearish gap after for earnings. So earnings are in the picture now. We shouldn't have as large of a gap down taking out this low, but if we do, that'd be phenomenal for the bears. I don't anticipate that happening, but anything could happen in the stock market. So just looking at this and seeing this pattern here underneath the line. If we do any sort of pattern like this, that's more of a continuation. But I mean, again, if you kind of merge these two candles in your mind, and then you have this one next, that would be this one, and then a bearish candle. And if it gaps down, it fits with what I'm saying. That would be more of a pennant or even a flag that moves then pretty quickly down. It doesn't need as much time. But if the bulls are here to stay, then we should continue to grind up with some smaller candles like we did here. I mean, this was a massive move up, but it did it with a lot of small bullish candles in here, and obviously not very many bearish ones. Just that one really. This one we had a couple small bearish candles, but we most of the time ignored them. There's some really large bullish candles to start us out, and this one we moved way on through. We went from a low to a high, within a few days, and this is a really strong gap up, but it's just a question of where is this actually gonna where's it gonna move next? Is it just a retracement we're looking at, or is it really continuing higher and it's gonna get to all-time highs at some point? Not quite ready to talk about that, but as long as I mention the inverted head and shoulder down here, I'll mention that we have somewhat of a topping pattern still here. Like, it's hard to see a shoulder like this and a really big head and then a big shoulder, but it has some characteristics of really large double top. And then again, if this is a retest of that kind of a bearish move or a bearish setup, we could come back all the way up. We could have a massive bullish rally and get back up to 1815, and that's a great resistance for us to sell back down into this line or into support again. So I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but there's opportunities. But if the bulls are here, it looks like we could just continue to rally and run up and trap a lot of bears, which means getting above these two candles and then contending with these guys and see if there's any more of them that are going to go bearish from here. But we'll see how that plays out. Getting back into the 5 minute, switch. There we go. Let's dive back into the 5 minutes. There were some opportunities to get in bearish right out the gate. It was moving pretty quick, but then it consolidated here. Let's see, I think you had a tweezer. Yeah, by 1 penny, it was a tweezer top here, which had it continued lower, that would have been really, a great setup, to stop right above there and a trigger down here, but it never triggered. Instead, this looks more like, if you go to 1 minute, this looks more of like a multi-bottom or like a double or triple bottom in here. Really nice, other than the tweezer-ish. It is making lower highs here, I think. Oh, these highs are the same. No way. These highs are the same price. These are a penny off. These are the same price. And then we end up breaking both of them bullish. So this one is a tweezer top. This one is a reverse tweezer top because this is the bearish candle first, then the bullish one. Normally that's what happens for a tweezer bottom, but in this case, the highs are the same. That's a phenomenal setup then too, getting in bullish above and a stop below, or here in the stop below, and then just run that right out. So that would have been getting in right after the 905 candle. Let's look at that first. So on the calls, yeah, the challenge here right after the 905 candle, it gapped, or at least people weren't ready to trade it that aggressively up. What's nice is this value here is above these two candles, which are the other two candles we were talking about. But this was 16 contracts volume. Potentially could have done a setup around like 10, but you would have had to have a stop down, probably around 8 to make that really worth, or give it the best opportunity for it to work. Or you're going further out with options. Well, while I'm at this option, you can see that there were some opportunities to get in on these pullbacks, but then most of the day it really just grinded through here. So if we jump over to the 1750 calls and see what's going on there, now they're out of the money, they're not going to move as much. Let's see, we have a better 905 and after 905 candle. where you're right at the same values. So as it's starting to move up, people could have been getting in like 450 by 350, or maybe 5 by 4, or 5 by 350, something like that. And then that really ran. Had a couple instances where it pulled back some, but continued to bounce. And so let's say you got in, very poorly, 5 by 4. I just mean like you waited, not necessarily too long, but you just waited a while for it to get it up here, or you had some slippage. But anyway, you got in at 5 and your stop is at 4 or even 350. Let's say 4, just easy numbers. And we just did this kind of run, and then you're panicking as it comes down. You're only going to get out around the high, around 750. You got in at 5, so that's 2.5 hour. 2 hour at 7, 2.5 hour at 750. But if you were to hold through this, or had you sold up here or sold at the high, you would have had a little more gain. And looking for a re-entry, this would have been a tough re-entry because it's like, well, I mean, the candle itself is under $1. So I guess you could have just bracketed the candle, and then you had opportunities here. It's going to be for a pullback back in the close price for that. So nice little continuation here. Let's say you got in at 5 and the option traded up to 10, you got out right at 10. And you had some opportunities to do that here, panic selling on these pullbacks. All while making higher lows and relative highs. So it's getting ready to do something. In this case, it didn't break out. It just kind of pulled back a little. It didn't even really roll over. It just kind of held that value. So we'll see if we can get a pullback, even though it's gapping up. We'll see if we can get some sort of pullback into this range. Now it's a wider range. It's like 10 by 8, but if you get into this kind of a channel and you want to buy it at 8 and sell at 10, you could have done that 1, 2, I guess only twice, maybe third time over here. So, 1, 2, and then 3 times. And it's just a matter of watching for what's going on with the option when it's happening. So this candle here at 11:15, I think that was the one that was bouncing right here. Yep, that's 11:15 candle. So that's the one where it was a great opportunity to get in, and not just take the bearish trade without waiting for the close, because at one point it was way down here and it looked like it was just going to collapse. And that was the best opportunity to pull back to be buying later in the day if you had missed all this. So for puts, I mean, we had some selling off here initially. Let me zoom back out to this. So we're, like I drew this inverted head and shoulders, like I didn't know it was going to turn into more over here, but you're already having kind of a slanted double bottom. Well, what if that slant is actually something else setting up? And that was this. So had a nice rally back up to like that neckline, or back up to this price around 1701. And so you come back in here, had you been shorting it right at 1700, that would have been tough here because it opened right on that, or it opened just below that, ran up, and then collapsed. And so, I mean, there's some ways to play that, a little more aggressively with appropriate risk. But had you just gotten into some puts right at the open, they moved up nicely, pretty quickly, but moved up nicely. Looks like there was an opportunity to get in 10 by 9. That's one of my favorites when we're around these values, but I mean, it would have been inside of this low. So probably wouldn't have done that setup. And then in this case, only went up to like 13. And there's some challenges for it to continue from there, but instead it rolled over. So you can see there wasn't really any opportunity. Maybe here, 3, buying at 3, selling at 4, but most of the rest of the day it was just grinding sideways and then losing premium on the option. So on the calls, you can see that rallying to the close, and some of these pullbacks. I mean, after, let's see, there's 6. We got a bullish candle after 6, bearish candles 5. We got a bullish candle. Counting that one, I guess there's 6. It is supposed to be this way, but it's the open and close to the same. Right, 850, 850, yeah. And then weren't very many more. I guess 4 here, and then that got that up too. So after more than 3 bearish candles, it looks like it's starting to bounce. But had you done that here, the fourth one's gone bearish. So that, you know, kind of general rule of looking for a buy off of a pullback. A little bit hard to stop. You just need to be looking for kind of what it's bumping up against or bouncing off of on the 5-minute here with 5 exponential and the 20 exponential. So squeeze into the close. So we'll see if that amounts to much for tomorrow. So hope you enjoyed this video. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.